Welcome everybody, Trevor Hall, the Marketing Director with Global UAV here. Once again, I have the CEO, Mike Burns. How are you, Mike?
Good, thanks, Trevor.
And we just wanted to follow up with you because yesterday we announced a definitive agreement with Aerial Imaging Resources. What are the highlights of yesterday's definitive agreement?
Yeah, so it was a great day for Global and for Air to finally have the definitive signed. As the news release stated, there's been some changes that were positive in regards to Global's standpoint on the transaction, and those major differences were that we capped the share issuance to 12 million shares, and we also adjusted the cash payment portion to a staged payment rather than paying the full cash portion all at once. And this really shows the dedication of Air's team to be long-standing partners with Global and to bring a lot of value to that side. They're going to be major shareholders coming on, and they're really dedicated to growing the company, and this really shows their dedication to that. So it's a great win-win for everyone, and we're really looking forward to them coming on board.
Mm-hmm. So, you didn't really get into any of the numbers, but how are the numbers different from the original letter of intent agreement with the definitive agreement from yesterday?
Yeah, so the differences was that capping the VWAP at 12 million shares. So this was twofold. It protected us from diluting excessively as the share price is down from when the deal was originally negotiated in the LOI. Mm-hmm. We first started talking with Air around 18 cent share price, and now we're down at around 10 cents. So they realized that as well. In the end, what's happening is they're getting a few more shares than they would have at an 18 cent transaction price, but they're also capping it. So Global is actually, in essence, paying less for this transaction than what was initially negotiated, and Air is getting a few more shares than they would have at the original share price. So it's a benefit for both parties, and it really helps out our shareholders as well from reducing the amount of dilution.
Oh, very good. So what are the forecasts for future revenues strictly from this Air acquisition? Like, what can you share? What are the revenue forecasts looking like?
It's quite good right now. We're already seeing significant contribution. We've worked together with Air on projects between the time that we signed the LOI and now. Air really has a significant benefit to joining up with Pioneer. Our reach increases and our client base increases, and it allows us to expand into new markets that we weren't able to reach before.
Mm-hmm. And part of the integration with Air coming in and kind of forming into Pioneer is Peter coming in as a key personnel for Pioneer as well. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, Peter Dueck has a lot of experience. He holds an MBA. He was formerly the chief geophysicist for Hud Bay up in Canada, and he's very well respected in the industry. So bringing someone of that pedigree on to step into the management position at Pioneer Aerial is a really smooth transition. We're working well together with their team already, and Pioneer is growing significantly as a result of that amalgamation. So with Peter and the team at Air coming into Pioneer, we're really expanding the team of the great people involved in the company. That's one thing we built Pioneer off of was having really good people behind it, and as a result, we're seeing that there's very few companies out there that match the quality of personnel working for them that we have at Pioneer Aerial.
So it's really great news for shareholders of Global UAV. It's great news for the people of Air, and it's also great news for Pioneer. Let's step away from that acquisition and what's happening with the other divisions, the other businesses in the other divisions of global AV?
We've had some great success with High Eye. We recently transitioned in new management to High Eye and have been reworking that company to access more niche markets with a larger barrier to entry and focusing on securing longer term contracts with clients, but also pushing into new markets. And we've been successful in that so far. So we've been able to secure contracts with LiDAR surveys. We've conducted more work. So High Eye is revenue producing, and they're well on their way to being a contributor to that bottom line at Global. And again, it comes down to having the right people involved. And Jean-Francois and Romero at High Eye have been instrumental in that development and that progress there. So we're really happy to see where things are.
And for those that are new to global UAV, is that movement with High Eye Aerial, is that something different than what shareholders saw a year ago?
It is, yeah. A year ago, the company was under different management. It was focused on a different sector, so mostly photogrammetry versus conducting more inspections and LiDAR work. And also the difference is just in the reach in terms of the contracts and the clients that Romero and Jean-Francois are able to access. So we're really dealing with more enterprise and commercial, business to business grade companies now versus smaller scale one-off jobs that we were looking at before, and that changes the entire operations of a company like that when you're able to start stepping into working with larger clients. It really changes both the bottom line in terms of the revenue of the company, but how you expand and access new markets. So it's been really good. They conducted an international survey in St. Lucia and have a lot of work lined up throughout Canada coming up as well.
And you previously mentioned the LiDAR contract. Will that be happening through High Eye?
Yep, High Eye handles all of the essentially remote sensing other than the geophysics services. Pioneer Aerial takes care of the geophysics side of the business, and High Eye takes care of all the other services work. So any LiDAR contracts will be going through High Eye.
Wonderful. And then, since this is basically the first time you and I have really connected like this since the Exponential conference in Denver the other week, there was a lot of interest with the Pro Scion, Novarial's Pro Scion 800E. What sort of catalysts are coming down the pipeline for manufacturing and distribution for the Pro Scion?
That's a great question. So we're in the process of setting up expanded manufacturing right now to get the production numbers per month up and be able to fill capacity when we have large orders. That's a process that takes a little bit of time, but we're making the right steps there. The management at Nova Aerial is doing a great job with integrating new systems and pushing the limits beyond what's available right now in the consumer market on systems, and really putting a professional grade drone out there that has a usefulness in a variety of spaces. One thing that we found out that was we knew all along, but it's good to see that this shift is happening, is that government organizations in the U.S., the Department of Defense especially, is starting to look more in the small UAS space for systems that have an open architecture and that have key elements such as an open source flight controller, where there are no hidden things behind the hood, and that's able to integrate well with other systems that they already have. So in future requirements for small UAS procurement, we have a system that checks a lot of those boxes for what they're looking for, and that's really exciting for us, and it's a direction that we're pursuing quite hard right now.
And that is actually a good segue, because you have another trip lined up here in the next week or two, I believe.
We do. We're going to SOFIC in Florida, and this is a Special Forces conference that happens. It brings together Special Forces units across the world, and they all meet in Florida, and it's designed for them to be able to see what's out there in industry, have the ability to get together with key suppliers of innovative technology, and we're going to have a good presence there. We have meetings lined up, and it should be a productive conference.
Wonderful. Well, best of luck on the travels and those meetings, and I'm sure the shareholders are all going to be excited to hear back from you once you return from lovely Florida. So, is there anything else? I know it's been a very busy week and lots of news people have been patiently waiting to hear that have been released. So, is there anything else you wanted to share with us, Mike?
No, it's. I think that covers a lot of what we can talk about at this point. But in the essence, I know it's been a little bit quiet lately in terms of news from the company, but that's the result of us working hard to get the transaction closed with Air, and we're nearing those steps now. The definitive is signed. So, when you're in the process of something like that, it always takes up lots of resources, but it's great to have it closed under new terms, and we're looking forward to moving forward.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. Best of luck, and we will catch up with you again soon.
Great. Thanks, Trevor.